As the official, unofficial president of the Emmett Jones Needs a Raise fan club, and just fan club of Emmett Jones in general, we got to talk about what this man's doing on the recruiting trail, because he's going coast to coast, giving kids something to think about before they make their actual decision on where they're going. Now, he's also locking up his own state. So, Oklahoma, we've got the top 3 wide receivers already locked down with in-state guys, Elijah Thomas as well as Jake Nickens, and then, ventured down to Texas to get Grayson Harris. We've already got 3 wide receivers in class, but that means we probably have room for one more guy, right? Well, we got to look and see who that could be. Well, as I mentioned, coast to coast, we got 2 players that have already locked up themselves on some official visits, and they're really the first 2 to do it outside of ones that have already visited. Like, we had Caleb Cunningham, the 5-star wide receiver out of Mississippi, pull up in January, end of January, and he raved about his visit here at Oklahoma. And I've even heard through the grapevine that Oklahoma is somebody he's considering landing in his top 12. So I can anticipate that's going to be a battle with Mississippi State and Ole Miss in getting his services, as Mississippi State right now is in the lead, but Oklahoma's in there. But then there's also some other players. We got Isaiah Mosey, the wide receiver up there in the Kansas City area, whose dad played at Oklahoma while Brent Venables was here. And so that's someone else to consider on the list. But there's 2 guys. They've already listed when they're coming into town, and we got to talk about them. So before we do that, welcome to Sooner or Later Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. You know what it is. We're going to dive into some measurables on these guys. We've got Travis Smith Jr. as well as Cooper Perry. Travis Smith Jr. is out of Westlake out in Atlanta, Georgia. And then you got Cooper, who is pulling up out of Notre Dame Prep in Scottsdale, Arizona. So like I said, we're going coast to coast, baby. He's trying to pull players from some of the bigger markets. And yeah, we're going to have like a Hunger game set up to see who's going to fight for that potential last spot. Because, I don't know, we may have 2. Especially the fact that the OU wide receiver room is probably our strongest room now ever since Emmett Jones walked in the door. I could totally see them trying to, stack up with as many athletes as possible, but I digress. Let's look at measurables on both Travis as well as Cooper. Let's talk about Oklahoma's chance of potentially landing them. I know Emmett Jones has this thing for tall wide receivers. Well, actually, Oklahoma has lately. We've been pulling in some really sizey guys to go with the quick, small dudes. But this Travis Smith Jr. kid definitely is another one. 6'3 and a half, roughly 200 pounds. Wide receiver, Westlake out of Atlanta, Georgia. He's a consensus and composite 4-star athlete. Top roughly 160 player in the country, 200 depending on which site you go to. But kid can ball. And so when I saw some of his highlights, I'm like, okay, he can burn. He can also catch. Like, he's got some nice hands, outruns defenders. Looks like he's got some solid, crisp route running ability. He can get those better angles, get to those touchdowns, all of that, right? And he can get them hands up and catch it up high. He don't mind catching it across the middle. Ain't no fear with him. But he was talking to our guy Colin Kennedy over there at 247 at Sooners Illustrated while he was in Atlanta. Colin was out there at the UC Report camp out in Atlanta, Georgia. And he went through, talked to him, had some conversations with him. But Travis is loving it, right? He's loving the of course, the attention or whatnot. He's got his top 8 teams already set for him. And with that, Oklahoma's on that list of teams because of Emmett Jones and what Emmett Jones is doing with these relationships. The wide receiver room is going to be fruitful for as long as we can hang on to Emmett Jones. Like, I say this in all respect and confidence that Emmett Jones is going to end up getting a head coaching job before he becomes a coordinator. Like, he's going to become a CEO or something. He's that type of dude. And all the things I've heard in the background, people rave about the guy. So I anticipate that's going to be, struggle. He's going to end up just jumping the no need for a coordinator spot. He's going to end up somewhere as a head coach because he has the mentality to be able to run things. But he's got these top wide receivers considering Oklahoma. And so if he's serious about a dude, it is showing that those dudes are becoming more serious about him as well. And so we know that Travis is going to make a plan to get down here to visit again. The reputation that Emmett Jones now has for developing players and getting them going. Last season was it, man. Last season we were concerned about that wide receiver room, and then all of a sudden Andrew Anthony looked like a monster. You started seeing Nick Anderson take over, became Nick Six, and freshman All-American looking like a beast. Jaden Gibson looked like he turned a complete 180 for us, and now he's going to go out there and probably be a problem. Think about that. 6'5", 6'4" wide receivers on the bookends. Goodness gracious. And Andrew Anthony get healthy. Whew. The room is going to be tough. And so for Travis, he loves the background that Oklahoma's had, of course. The Marquise Browns, the CeeDee Lambs, the D.D. Westbrooks of the world. They've had some great guys come through here. And the anticipation is that Nick Six is going to be the next one on the list. I'm going to see some Jaden Gibson, some Jaquez Pettaways, right? All these wide receivers we're bringing in and playing, they're going to end up doing that too. And so Travis wants to be a part of that. Can't blame him, right? Emmett Jones does it, and this is the film of him. Like I said, the Duke and ball. So as Travis hop in the comments, let your boy know your thoughts. Let's talk about Cooper Perry. Now, Cooper, size-wise, he's chilling here. 6 foot, 185. Nice size to me for a wide receiver. He's over 6 foot. He can ball. He's a consensus composite 4-star, roughly 250th player in high school football. So he's a top 250 guy, which is all that matters. He's one of those players that he got some nice route running ability. And he's fast. That's the one thing I like about him, right? I'm sitting there watching the film. He's catching a ball, and he's hitting the right angles. And so he set up his first official visit here for the spring for June 21st. So he's going to pull up 247, put out an article on it. Blaine, shout out to him for doing that. But he says he's going to come out here, wants to come meet up, Emmett Jones again, because Emmett's got these dudes really considering and looking at Oklahoma. Now, Cooper already has a crystal ball for Oregon. They're really believing that Oregon is top. For him, he's the top player coming out of the state of Arizona. And kind of a little concerning that University of Arizona and Arizona State ain't in there for him. But, it is what it is. But he's setting his dates, and Oklahoma's one that he set quick. And so he met with Venables. He's met with Emmett Jones the last time that he was here and really liked it. He really liked his first visit out here. And just about everybody says that, right? Once they get here, they recognize the coach, just how good the coach is, good at people that they are. And we talked about this in a video over on UNFAIRSports channel. Make sure you go subscribe there, about Oklahoma making staff changes. And the big staff changes they did, they added someone in to be the director of on-campus recruiting so they can put these great events on. Because the coaching staff does their job. They are doing a great job of building a great rapport relationship with players. And then at that point, it's all about the kid making a decision on where they actually want to go. We're not lacking in that department. And then the events are still also dope. Bruh. All I got to say is Oklahoma is doing everything they need to do to get this top 250 player on this campus and stuff or whatnot. But he enjoys it. He loves what he's had in the conversations with these coaches. He looks like someone that will jump off the screen when he hits those cuts. He's really good at that. I'll say that. I like watching his angles that he takes, and he just outruns the competition. Dude's got some jets. Can't beat that, right? And so when you look at this Hunger Games setup we have with the battle for who's going to get the last spot between Cooper Perry, Caleb Cunningham. You take him if you can get your hands on him, as well as this Travis Smith Jr. kid, in which at his size, kind of would like to have him too. Man, I like all wide receivers, but Emmett Jones knows what he's doing. We're going to rely on him to continue to build out this wide receiver room, make it as exciting as y'all want, as well as one that y'all appreciate the most. So we're looking at Cooper. We've got Travis Smith looking to pull up. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. How y'all feeling about what Emmett Jones is doing? Love to hear from you all. We always want y'all to join the conversation. Made it this far, like the content, please hit that like button. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Love for you to join this family of college football fans. I'm talking to all you football here, baby. And we're trying to get to 1,000 subs for this channel specifically. Can't get my words out. But we're out talking about nothing but recruiting. So check it out. We'll be around. Got some more players to highlight. We've got some 2026 guys, which is technically not a real year, but at the same time, you never know, that are looking at, they're getting their crystal balls already in, and maybe we'd look at this quarterback. We'll talk soon. Peace.